everyone, welcome to Study Abroad 101. Albright College is proud to support students who are interested in studying abroad during their time with us. So this is a quick overview of what to expect as you begin the process and what to look for and things to consider. As an overview, we're going to be going over the different requirements. So what will you need to have in place in order to be eligible to study abroad? We'll talk about academics and things to consider as you look at your whole 4-year plan and what classes may influence when you study abroad. We'll talk a bit about finances and scholarships because a lot of times that may have an impact on where and when you go. We'll talk about timing and how that can play a part, especially in terms of academics, as well as the benefits. And of course, you know there are many benefits to studying abroad. First things first, our requirements. We do ask that you spend at least 2 semesters at Albright College. So this allows you to really understand the college experience, get a better understanding of what the academic course load will be like, and also helps you establish a GPA. As a rule, we require a 2.5 cumulative GPA, so that's overall all of your classes combined, not just the ones within your major. We also require good disciplinary standing and good financial standing. And we know there can be some confusion over what is considered good financial standing and whether that means you can have a balance in your account. Please know that during the application process, you will be required to meet with financial aid and student accounts so they can talk more with you about your financial standing. So we'll start off with thinking about study abroad for a whole semester. Okay, your major and potentially even your co-major or your minor can really drive when and where you study. So for example, if you are going into the sciences, it may be better to study abroad earlier in your college career before you get into the upper level classes that may be offered, only in fall semester or every other year. These are some things that you'll really want to consider. Whereas some majors, you have a lot of flexibility and could study abroad beginning of your senior year if you wanted to. So really make sure you keep in touch with your academic advisor as well as Kim Justison, who's our study abroad director. And they can give you a lot of guidance on when would be a good time for you to go and make the most of your college experience while still getting all of the credits that you need in order to graduate on time. You may also want to consider an internship. This is a great way to get college credit and course credit while still building a lot of international skills and a lot of professional development. In fact, some majors do require an internship, so it's a great way to cross off 2 opportunities at once. Now, another way to look at it is you can look at your general studies, your electives, and your major courses. Okay, so for example, one of your general education requirements is a foreign language. So this may be a really cool way to continue to build your Spanish or French skills by being in a country that speaks primarily Spanish or French. You can also use it to take connections courses. So if you are thinking about study abroad, hang on to one of your connections courses within your general studies in order to build in that global studies connections course where you can look at cross-cultural differences and things like that. You can also take a course or 2 in your major whenever possible. It's really neat to see how another culture views international business or sociology or education. There's a lot of different ways to approach a lot of the topics of study at Albright. So definitely consider taking a class in your major or 2 to get that different perspective on your program. And of course, you have the option to take different electives, so you may want to save room for one just so that you have the option to take something really cool and different that you wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to while you're at Albright. Of course, there are also short-term opportunities. We do offer programs that run in the summer, as well as faculty-led programs. And in faculty-led programs, you start the class at Albright, and then you have the opportunity to study abroad with your peers as a group. So it's a really cool way to experience both, I'm getting the course credit that I need at Albright while still also having that study abroad opportunity. So, if you're doing a short-term program, it may or may not drive your decision, having your major or co-major influence where and when you go or the classes that you take. Since you'll be taking classes outside of the academic year, you have a lot more flexibility. You only need to take maybe 1 or 2 classes, and that's okay. Now, if you're doing a faculty-led trip, generally they're cross-listed, so they'll be eligible for a few different majors, or you can use it as one of your connections courses. So it does give you that flexibility within your schedule. Plus, external interim, so January opportunities, as well as summer, is also available, which again will increase your options in terms of what classes you're taking when and what they count for. Something else you can consider is study off campus. So this would be for programs that you definitely wouldn't have at Albright. So think about things like the National Theater Institute or the Washington Center, opportunities where you can take classes and get an internship potentially, but not on the Albright campus. So for example, you can see Blake, she did a semester studying in Hawaii and getting a really interesting perspective on how a state that solely focuses on import can have a really interesting effect on local government and government political science as a whole. So off-campus study can be a full semester or it could be faculty-led travel. We do have a faculty-led trip that goes to Hawaii. It's an opportunity for you to research or really focus on specific topics of interest like theater or like government. We do have some designated programs that I mentioned that we work with, and it does follow all the Albright requirements and application process. So if you're thinking that that might be a good opportunity for you, definitely come talk with us and we'll walk you through the application for that as well. Now, getting into finances, and I know a lot of students worry about finances because they see it as a hurdle that, maybe I won't be able to study abroad because it has to be super expensive. And I'm really excited to talk with you about this because there are a lot of ways that we can make it more accessible for you. If you're studying abroad for a semester, you'll be replacing your semester tuition, room, and board at Albright, okay? May not always include your meal plan, but definitely replaces the tuition and your housing. Okay, so depending on where you go in the institution, it may be cheaper than a semester of tuition at Albright. You can also take your federal aid with you. So if you receive the Pell Grant or the Stafford Loan, Parent Plus, all of that is able to be applied to your study abroad expenses. Plus, there are a lot of additional scholarships available, not only through Albright, but also the host institution and partner programs. If you're considering a short-term program, a shorter duration means a lower price. So you won't have to be paying for as much residence cost or as high tuition fees. Remaining aid from your prior semester can be applied. There are fewer external scholarships, but we do have quite a few Albright scholarships that will be available to you as well to help offset that cost. Plus, you may be eligible for additional need-based funding, and that's something you can discuss more with Kim. There are opportunities for exchanges and special programs, and exchange is more immersive. It's a really cool way to really become involved with the host institution. Meanwhile, they send someone to spend time at Albright, so it's a really unique opportunity. It does require more coordination from the student throughout the application process. There may be an interview, there may be a more in-depth application, there may be other things you'll have to consider, but that's something, again, we can certainly walk through with you. With an exchange, you would be paying your usual Albright tuition and use your Albright scholarships. So again, your financial aid may look a little different, but you'd be paying housing costs to the host institution, which again, may be different than what you would be paying at Albright. We also have different special programs like Albright in London, and it's a great opportunity for you to pay your Albright tuition, your room and board costs, and a study abroad fee, but you have the opportunity to spend a semester with a group of your peers. So it's really good if you are nervous about studying abroad, It's a great way to start that process and get your experience studying abroad long term while still having a very reasonable financial opportunity. Now, I have touched on quite a few scholarships, and I have more here. So at a federal level, the Gilman Scholarship is a wonderful resource for students who receive the Pell Grant. It's only open to Pell Grant recipients, but it's eligible for students who want to study abroad for a semester and short term. As long as you'll be abroad for 21 days minimum, you can apply. We do have quite a few different Albright scholarships, so they're only open to students who are studying at Albright. We have the Bell Scholarship, which is a really unique program that requires you to do some form of experiential learning while you're abroad. So whether you're volunteering and doing an internship, taking part in research, and it's really flexible because you get to decide what you do during your time abroad that would count as your service activity. So it's a really neat opportunity I urge everyone to look into. We also offer 2 scholarships that are more specific based on where you're studying, where your host institution is located. So if you are interested in studying abroad in South America, you may want to check out the Kitty Scholarship. And if you're thinking of studying abroad in Asia, particularly Japan and East Asia, then the Wahlberg Scholarship might be a great opportunity for you. We also offer the Ashley Adams Scholarship, and that's for students who have completed 4 semesters of a language study and are looking for a more in-depth immersion experience to really gain more within their chosen language. And then other need-based funding is also available that Kim will be happy to talk with you more about. Plus, there are external opportunities. The different program providers that we work with offer scholarships. The host institution may offer external scholarships. And of course, there are different general study abroad scholarships and country-specific resources as well. In terms of timing, there are quite a few things that we need to consider, particularly when are your classes, when are things scheduled. If you're going abroad for a semester, you're going to be looking at doing a full-time course load, which may be 4 or 5 classes. It does replace a semester at Albright, which is great financially, but you do have to consider, the cost of your flight or other living expenses, transportation. You get that really immersive experience for living abroad during a full semester. Whereas if you do a short term, then maybe it feels more like you're just visiting or just traveling through. If you're doing a summer, then you have 1 or 2 courses, so it's a little less academic pressure. You would still get your normal semester credits because you would still be doing your full load in the spring and fall surrounding when you travel. So it gives you a lot more academic flexibility, but you may not have as many opportunities for scholarships. A short-term program such as, a 3-week January study or a faculty-led trip, it's a really good way to get your feet wet. So if you've never left the country before and you don't know what to expect, maybe that's a great place for you to start. And it's really helpful for students who maybe aren't ready to go away on your own because you're traveling with your peers, or maybe you can't get away for longer because of your rigorous academic course load, or maybe you're an athlete, or maybe you have, other work or family considerations to take into account. A short-term program like that may be really beneficial for you. So we'll wrap up with the benefits, and of course there are so many. First and foremost, your independence, the ability to travel somewhere, to make the decision to travel somewhere, whether it be on your own or even a faculty-led trip or a special program like Albright in London. You still have that independence because you're away from your professors and your family, your support system. So there's a lot of personal growth while you're abroad, not just your independence, but your self-reliance and learning new skills. You have a broadened worldview. You have a better understanding of, how the world views America and how, different cultures celebrate things and different views on what work means, um, how their country views a lot of the classes that you may be taking. It's a really interesting way to not only get a better sense of your own country, but also get a better world view as a whole. You develop intercultural competence. You'll be learning more about other cultures, developing a language, building relationships with people in another country. So it really diversifies, not only your professional network, but your friend group. You'll be able to establish relationships with these people that you are living with and taking classes with every day in this whole new world for you. Plus, of course, it will enhance career opportunities. Many employers do look highly on language ability and intercultural understanding. So this is a great way to build those professional skills as well as academics. There's a great return on investment if you decide to study abroad. It really shows employers and really everyone that you're able to negotiate difference and work well with people who may be different from you. People who may practice a different religion or have a different government system, different beliefs on society and family. So really being able to understand those differences can really add a lot to you. It shows that you can be independent, okay, ability to travel outside of your home. And it's also a great way to show that you're able and comfortable navigating unfamiliar territory, that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. Now, we will say you have to be able to articulate how your study abroad experience has benefited you in a way that employers will appreciate. But don't worry, we've got you covered. We do have a workshop on marketing your study abroad experience that can really help you correlate your own study abroad experience and make it more valuable for employers that you may be interested in. So now you've finished Study Abroad 101, you're ready to start your search. We do ask that you talk with your parents and guardians early in the process. So make sure that you're all on the same page on, the financial aspect, when you're going, where you're going, what's everyone's comfort level. It needs to be a very inclusive process. So make sure to include, not just the ELCDC, but also your family and potentially your professors and friends also in the process early on. You can check out the ELCDC website to begin your research. You can look by, what major you're interested in, by a program you're interested in, by a region or country you're interested in. We also walk through the different faculty-led trips if you feel that that may be a better place for you to start. So definitely check out the ELCDC website. You'll want to determine your real cost early. So making sure you're taking into account things like airfare, meals, extraneous expenses and incidentals, things that may build up over time that you don't necessarily think of when you're looking at tuition. And make sure that you complete your FAFSA on time so that you're eligible for federal aid. And make sure at Albright you're keeping in good academic, financial, and disciplinary standing so that we have nothing holding you back from your ability to travel and try new places. Thank you so much for watching Study Abroad 101. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the ELCDC if you have any questions, particularly Kim Justison, who is our Study Abroad Director. We're all really happy to see where you travel, and let's get started. Your future awaits.